Good evening, and thank you for joining us. We are going to begin with the investigation into this week's shooting rampage at 3 Asian spas and the growing outrage over a disturbing trend of hate crimes against Asian Americans nationwide. As we come on the air, the president and vice president are in Atlanta, meeting with community leaders and addressing the attacks head on. The president just saying moments ago that America must address the ugly poison that's long haunted our nation. He's also calling on Congress to pass a bill addressing hate crimes tied to the coronavirus pandemic. And Vice President Harris, the first Asian American to hold that office, telling the audience that racism is real in America, and it always has been. Well, tonight we're also getting new details about what the alleged killer did before opening fire, and we're learning more about the victims from their families. We've got a lot of new reporting for you and your family tonight. CBS's Ed O'Keefe is going to lead off our coverage. He's traveling with the president in Atlanta. Good evening, Ed.
Good evening, Nora. The deadly shooting has rocked the city and reverberated across the country. The president tonight paying respects to the Asian American community that feels under siege and speaking out against the dangerous rise in attacks.
Good afternoon.
President Biden tonight with a forceful call to end violence against Asian Americans.
We have to change our hearts. Hate can have no safe harbor in America. It must stop. Too many Asian Americans have been walking up and down the streets and worrying. They've been attacked, blamed, scapegoated, and harassed. They've been verbally assaulted, physically assaulted, killed.
Earlier, the president spent more than 90 minutes meeting privately with Asian American activists and legislators, including State Senator Michelle Au, who had a message for Mr. Biden.
The Asian community is scared. We are living in terror. We have been for the past year at least. And this latest incident here in Atlanta is just taking place on top of a culture of fear of violence.
Reported attacks on Asian Americans in the past year jumped to almost 4,000 amid the pandemic.
This recent surge has been driven by the racist political rhetoric of the former president and many of his colleagues.
Kung flu,
Reports show anti-Asian sentiment on social media increased dramatically after former President Trump first used the hashtag Chinese virus last spring.
They started calling me Chinese virus.
Air Force veteran Denny Kim, who was assaulted on a Los Angeles sidewalk last month, said the government has to take action.
It's as important as my mom living and not fearing for her life when she walks to the grocery store. I feel like President Biden really needs to protect Asian Americans right now.
And Ed joins us now from Atlanta. And Ed, the president on the way there to that stop made quite a stumble on the stairs of Air Force One earlier today. Is he okay?
That's right, Nora. He was boarding the plane, jogging up the stairs and stumbled 3 times before catching himself. The White House says he's fine, quote, doing 100%, and didn't require any medical attention, citing the high winds as one of the reasons he took the tumble. But, of course, there's been cause for concern because he broke his foot in late November during the transition. Nora?
All right, Ed O'Keefe with those new details. Thank you, Ed.